I'm deciding that I'm not actually going to release my version of the Argam font that I made for my particular number system that I use. Ironically, because of the ridiculousness of copyright claims. Not only is it, well, I don't think that it's really necessarily, it's not guaranteed that it's possible that my symbols will actually get claimed by Argam, because I've done a pretty good job, kind of changing the symbols up and whatnot. But also because if you have a good idea like that, someone will likely take it and they will put their own stupid copyright claim on it, even though they didn't create it. And see, the thing is, as much as I would like for these symbols to be public, I would like for it to be that that if you got a system like this, it's kind of like a tool in a toolbox. You can use it for whenever you need, a large base, but it don't actually have a copyright claim on it, and it's not copyright claimable in the same way the alphabet, the English alphabet's not copyright claimable. The Hindu Arabic numbers are not copyright claimable. You're not going to take these things and, put copyright claim on them. If you tried to, that you would be laughed out of the court. It would never work. If you tried to patent something like Hindu Arabic numerals. I can certainly tell you that Eric Larson on the channel Duodecimal Division, he's not going to patent the Hindu Arabic numerals. I can promise you that. He's been making these videos talking about how numbers like all the Hindu Arabic numbers, but also not just that, but also Dec and El. He claims that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 9 Dec El. He claims all 11 of those were from square root radii circles, right? No, they're not. They're absolutely not. These numbers evolved over time. If you've ever heard about the Brahmi system, that's where they actually came from. Now, I do believe there was a time, sometime in the distant past, possibly before Brahmi, when humans had to know of the existence of the zero. I believe that this type of wisdom has been around longer than we realize. But if any such system had existed, it has died out. Brahmi took its place, and eventually it took on the mathematical role of having a zero. That's what happened. And in the Hindu Arabic numerals, the ones that we use in the modern day system, if you go back even a few hundred years, they look different than they do now. And so in any instance of Hindu Arabic numerals thousands of years ago, you're going to see a tremendous deviation from what they look like now to what they look like today. It is known beyond all shadow of all doubt that the letter L, the number L, which looks like 11, it kind of has this shape. That is 100% an evolution of the letter E for 11. I mean, the word 11 comes from the word elethen, which means I think or eliften or something like that. I don't know the exact terminology, but here's what I know. I know it means 10 and 1 left over. That's what the word means. The word actually means 1 left over from 10. So, this idea that, Eric Larson has this idea, that L was the original number, and 11 comes from L even because there's 2 of them and it's even. That is absolutely erroneous. Absolutely nothing could possibly back that up. Rubbish. Absolute bunk. There is no evidence of that whatsoever. Okay? A dozen was an important system that people used for measuring, and oftentimes it was also used in examples like, you might have a dozen eggs. A dozen was a very convenient number, and it's inconvenient that we didn't grow up with a dozenal number system. It is a little inconvenient, but to say that the numbers were developed from square root radius points is absolutely bunk. It's absolutely absurd. There's no evidence of that whatsoever. I was following that for a while, but then I looked into it, and there is no missing link when it comes to the Hindu Arabic numerals. If there was this big missing link, between Brahmi and the Hindu Arabic numerals, and the ones we have today have existed for thousands of years, and it was just a little brief thing that suggests that they might have evolved from Brahmi, then maybe, but that's not the case. You can go back probably not even a full 100 years, and you'll see that the numbers didn't even look exactly the same as they do now. I mean, that's undebatable. You could go back 200-300 years, they really start looking wacky. If you go back 1,000 years, you probably wouldn't even recognize them as Hindu Arabic numerals, but that's what they are. Absolutely did not come from square root radiuses, and the letter dec absolutely is 100% beyond any shadow of a doubt influenced by the Roman numeral for 10, which is an X, and it is 100% from the old English alphabet variant of the X that has the slight tilt at in the front. As a matter of fact, that's what I use for 10. And there's even one that has a little bit of a slant in the middle of it for 10. As for the naming in my number system, for example, I've borrowed ideas like that. For example, I have a numeral that represents 14. I call it stone. And rightfully, 14 is called a stone in my system because 14, a stone is 14 pounds. It's a British measurement, so it works. A stone should, if we ever have a number system that actually has a digit for 14 in it, we should absolutely call 14 stone, I think. It's no more awkward than saying 9. Stone, 9, they both end in E. Stone dro sounds a little weird. I might call it stodro or something if it's a multiple of 120. So there's something I revealed there. Stodro or stadro or something like that. That would be a stone times 120, right, in my Argam system that I made. But yeah, I just wanted to clear that up. Wanted to talk about the system that I'm probably not going to be releasing for reasons that copyright is a hungry, selfish bitch that always wants attention and always wants credit for things, despite that, humanity is probably more important, but I'm not gonna I'm not gonna send these. I'm not gonna put these symbols out. For that reason. I also wanted to clear up, this idea. Somebody needs to do a documentary. Maybe not necessarily a documentary, but somebody needs to do a little video about Eric Larson and his theory that that the digits 1 through L came from square root radii circles. It's a totally baseless claim. It's a creative claim, but it's totally baseless. And there is no evidence. No evidence whatsoever. None. That actually, you know, that actually supports that idea whatsoever.